Hello all, welcome to the Op Manager Plus training. In this training series, we would be talking about the Manage Engine's IT Operations Management suite of solutions. So, we would be talking about Manage Engine Op Manager Plus, the all-in-one comprehensive monitoring solution. So when we talk about Op Manager Plus is what you see on the screen, which you have Op Manager, you will have NetFlow Analyzer, the Application Manager, the Network Configuration Manager, the Op Utils, and the Firewall Analyzer. All the functionals and the features of all of these modules built in together in one single platform is called Op Manager Plus. In the entire series, we would be talking about what is the best benefits you would be gaining out of Op Manager Plus. First, let me introduce about the module Op Manager. So Op Manager is the module which would be talking about the performance monitoring of all your devices, be it physical device, a virtual device, your storage devices, your network devices like your routers, switches, firewalls, and much more. You would be able to gain the availability of those devices and about the performance metrics of those devices as well. Wherein the NetFlow Analyzer is a tool, is a module which would be helping you to find the network traffic and bandwidth analysis. You would be able to get a complete insight about how a particular device or how a particular interface is behaving in terms of traffic mechanism. NetFlow Analyzer would also let you know about how the bandwidth is being utilized. So one particular interface uses how much of bandwidth at certain point of time and what is that interface is going through, which source, which destination, on what protocol, what port number, what application that particular traffic is being used via that interface is all much you would be able to get that from NetFlow Analyzer. Applications Manager is a module, it's a plugin where you would be able to gain a complete insight of your database and applications. Let it be your any type of database, be it MS SQL database, Mongo database, Cassandra, any type of database we're talking about. You get to dive in depth and understand how your database performs. What are the top queries? How is that the performance of your database? You get to have a very detailed understanding about a particular application, be it an in-house application or a global application, be it an ERP solution, be it Amazon, a cloud application, anything as such. You would be able to have a very deeper insight on that. Let's say you've got a .NET application, a Java application, or a JBoss. So you will be able to gain what's the throughput, what exactly that application is behaving. So is that the end users who is using your application is really satisfied with the performance what your application is delivering? You will get much more information about that applications. The Network Configuration Manager, it's all about the configuration and the compliance management of your network. With all the hundreds of network devices you have, this module will help you to take up the backup of all these configurations right then and there. It can automatically detect whether there is a change in the configuration and help you take the backup. Check the compliance of all your network devices, and also you would be able to have much more on the network management perspective from this module. Op Utils is another module where you would be able to have an IPAM and the switch port mapper blended together. So you wanted to understand the IP address availability, whether that particular IP address is used or is that available, or is that you can take it from that for use it to a new team from any subnet. So just scan the subnet, you get the complete information about the IP address. And when the switch port mapper is in, where it's highly blended together, the switches when you add it, it will let you know which port of the switch is utilized, which port of the switch is connected to which IP address, what is the MAC address does that IP holds, what is the type of the device that IP address belongs to. You get a complete picture of that. It also helps you to identify the rogue devices. Any new MAC addresses identified in that, you would definitely be able to identify from your network. Firewall Analyzer is a comprehensive tool exclusively designed for firewall, and that would tell you about how your firewall is performing. You wanted to understand the bandwidth utilization of the firewall. You want to know the rules, policies, objects of the firewall. You want to know about the security audit reports of the firewall. You want to know the VPN sessions which is being utilized through the firewall, and you talk about much more. Entire things of your firewall can be captured under that particular module. So all of these modules are readily available as a standalone solutions as well when you look forward only for that perspective. But in the network, you definitely do have everything in place. You do have physical devices, you have virtual devices, you want to monitor the performance of those devices, you want the network configuration to be captured, traffic to be analyzed, firewall details to be captured, understand about the IP details, and also know about how your application performs. So it's absolutely a spider web where it's highly tightly integrated. As a network is that, we also as a provider, a managed engine, we help you with this solution called Op Manager Plus, where everything is tightly integrated in one single comprehensive solution for you to have in your organization. Let's now talk about Op Manager, and let's talk about how you will have to discover the devices in this module. So when you discover the devices at the first place from your organization in all of these modules, once it has been properly inventorized, and then in the upcoming series on the next sessions, we would talk in detail about how do you take care of your servers, what does it best can bring in the server modules, what is that you have got for your network, what is that you have got for security, and that is how we would discuss about in the parts coming up. So now let's talk about how do you discover the devices in Op Manager Plus. So this is called Op Manager Plus, and this is how the look and feel of Op Manager Plus is. So the first and foremost thing which I wanted to tell you is Op Manager Plus is predominantly an agentless monitoring solution. There are very few places which you might need agents where you want to dive deep into the monitoring, but overall this is an agentless monitoring solution where you do not want agents to be installed on each and every machine to start its monitoring. And this relies completely on the credentials. We communicate to the devices through the credentials, and then we get the information about that device's performance metrics. So the first and foremost thing you will have to do is about creating credentials for the devices which you will wanted to add and get that monitored. So first is about device credentials. So we have got a couple of credentials which is already been created. So you will have to create or add a credential. Let's say we do support a lot of credentials. We do support SNMP V1, V2, V3, which can be used for your network devices to capture its performance metrics. You can use the Windows, the WMI credentials for all your Windows machines, and Telnet or SSH credentials here for monitoring your Linux boxes. VMware, Citrix, and UCS credentials are also readily available. Start creating the credentials and then create a library of credentials for the monitoring perspective. So once this is done, on the other hand, you also can create a backup credentials. Say you have few of the network devices which needs to be backed up, the configuration have to back up. For the configuration backup, we do use SSH credentials or Telnet credentials. And for few of the Cisco devices, we do also can use SNMP credentials. So the backup credentials is another set of credentials. You use it for the configuration management. So at the first place, create the monitoring credentials and then also create your backup credentials for your network devices. So the SSH Telnet credentials can be used. And if at all, if you've got any plans to have your storage devices added, you can also create credentials for your storages. We do have SNMP credentials, SMI, NetApp API, and the storage API credentials based on the model of the storage devices you have. You also can provide the respective credentials in here. So this is the first step. Immediately after having Op Manager Plus in place, you create all of these type of credentials which you want. So once the credentials are done, then let's see how do we add the devices. So now you have all of these modules readily available in the same platform. So here you would be able to see the inventory of the devices, You get to see all of the network devices, servers, exclusive virtual storage, and everything is dedicatedly available where you can pitch in and then see how that is. And all of the modules which we were talking about, like the NetFlow Analyzer, NCM, Firewall, and all of the other modules, make sure you enable them right under Settings, Displayed Modules, and make sure you enable the modules. So once the modules are selected, probably you would be able to see them in the inventory or on the respective tabs. So make sure you enable these modules which you've got. So once this is all in, now let's see the discovery process. Before we begin the discovery process, let's click on Discovery Settings, and to make it very much more easier, just enable Add Device to NCM. So any of the network devices like routers and switches are added for monitoring in Op Manager for its performance monitors. You can also automatically add that to NCM for its configuration and compliance check. So it will automatically push the devices from the Op Manager module to the NCM, which is blended together. The same way, you wanted any of the subnets and switches to be added in the IPAM module, you can just enable that, and that would also help you to reduce much of the discovery process. So probably you can just save the setup. And now let's start with the discovery process. So here, under the discovery section, there are a lot of options for the discovery. So first, let's go with the network discovery. So when you create a network discovery, you would be able to see a new discovery, name the discovery as you wish, and you have different mechanisms which can help you for the discovery process. It can be an IP range, it can be subnet, it can also be from the AD, or you can also import from the CSV. So choose the right one which you would like to have it. So let's say I'm just going with an IP range now. So it's an IP range which I wanted to discover, say from 5, and let's say it's 192.168.1.200. So if this is the range of an IP address, within this range of an IP address, I might have any type of credentials. I can have SNMP credentials, I may have Windows devices, I may have Linux devices, anything of those sort. Just select all those credentials and then click on Discover, and it will start discovering all these range of devices, and it will help you to choose whether you want to put them back to the inventory, whether you want to approve them for the monitoring, or you want to ignore them. So you do that, and then you would get the discovery tab. It's that simple. So if any of the switches or routers are found in that particular range, it will automatically get added to the NCM as well. And if any of the switches are available, it will automatically get added to your IPAM suite as well. So once the discovery is successful, you would be able to see all the devices in the inventory, and then you would be able to see what type of device it is, what category they fall into, who is the vendor of that device, and everything. And probably we get them at the time of discovery with the help of templates we have. We have almost about 11,000 plus templates, so almost all the market available devices would be categorized proper. And there are cases where you might not have the type or the category or the vendor properly categorized or classified, and they fall into an unknown categories because the credentials we have added for those devices may not be the right ones. So make sure we have the credentials supported for those IP addresses, and make sure the Op Manager as a destination IP address will have to be open for all the requested ports. So once the device has been successfully in, let's take, for example, let's check on a router. This is how the router looks like in the Op Manager Plus. So you could see the device summary, the availability timeline, the custom dials which talks about your performance metrics, and this is all added by default. The IP address table and much more information about the routers. And you also get to have the router graphs where you get all the details about the performance metrics of the router. And as we have selected that these network devices have to be added to the NCM for the configuration management, the same tab NCM can help you to start checking on the configuration backups and help you to understand about how the configuration changes, what is the backup, or what is the firmware vulnerabilities available on those devices when you have multiple backups readily available. We'll discuss more about how to take backups and much more in the upcoming session. But once this is all ready, you would be able to find them right here at the same page. So you get to see the monitors here, where all these performance monitors are readily available, and started collecting the data as well. So these are the performance metrics. And this is your summary screen of that particular device. So this is how we discover the device in Op Manager, and the same can be pushed to your NCM. And you also can help to see them under the IP management. All those switches we have added in Op Manager will automatically be added right here and can be scanned for your usage of the switch ports as well. So you would be able to understand how is that particular switch port being utilized. So it's a very tightly blended tool that where you will have a comprehensive view of that, and the discovery process is that simple. So now let's talk about how do you discover the interfaces, the routers or the switches interfaces for its traffic and bandwidth monitoring. And that is where you would be having to check the flow analysis module. And the next we would talk about the discovery process of your firewall log analysis. So both of these modules, the flow analysis module and the firewalls log analysis module, relies on the input we receive from the device. First, we'll talk about the flow analysis. So the traffic and the bandwidth management is completely based on the flow technology. So be it any type of flows, be it Cisco's NetFlow or JFlow, YesFlow, any type of flow, we will have to forward the flows from the network device to the destination address as Op Manager's IP address on the port number 9996. The device will get automatically added. In case if you're looking for to change the receiving port or the listener port, probably you will be able to see them right here, and this is the place where you can change the listener port. In case if you wanted to look for a customized port where net flows or any type of flows have to be listened on, you can change that and make sure you save this configuration so that the flows which you started to send, you've got to make sure it's sent across this port number, and then we would be able to have that devices automatically added. So once the flow configuration is done on the device, on the interface level, it would automatically be received right here, and you would be able to see them under the flow analysis. So these are a couple of devices which I've added already. You will be able to see the device level information about the traffic on the device level, and you can drill down to see on the interface level as well. This is how you would be able to have the devices discovered. It's that simple. Just forward the flows and automatically it will be added right here. Let me also share the help link. I can also help you to share the help document which consists of the flow commands which you need to configure on different type of devices. We have got as a repository, probably the link which you see right here on the screen can help you to find the flow commands for the different type of devices. Let us see how to discover the interfaces for Op Manager module which can be monitored through SNMP protocol. Let's go to settings, interface discovery, and let's say I want all the interfaces which are of Ethernet type, and let's say if the description of the interfaces says anything as MPLS from all my routers, I want that to be monitored. I set my device criteria as all the category equals router, and the interface criteria says my description contains something called MPLS, and my interface type falls into anything as Ethernet. I would want to go ahead and then discover. This is the bulk method of discovering the interfaces for all the network devices. Let us say we wanted to discover only for a particular device. Let's go to the network section, and under the routers or switches, any of those network device, click on that and then get to the interface tab and then click on discover interfaces, and this can help you to discover the interfaces of that particular network device alone. You can select the ones which you would like to monitor and then click save, and the interfaces would be discovered on that device. So these are two methods where you would be able to monitor the interfaces with the help of SNMP protocol in Op Manager module. So before that, we have seen how to monitor the interfaces in depth with the Flow technology, and this is how you do it with your SNMP protocol. Now, let's see how do we add the devices in the firewall log analysis. All the firewalls, be it any type of firewall, if you want to add them, the firewall can be added automatically again by forwarding the syslogs to this Op Manager Plus IP address as its destination IP address. The default syslog receiver port number is 1514. If you wanted to have any other syslog port numbers on which you want to receive and listen the syslogs, probably you can add another syslog port number and probably start forwarding the syslogs from the firewall devices to this Op Manager Plus as its destination IP address. As said, I can also share the link where we have it as a repository of the firewall syslog commands which you need to forward from the firewall. So once you configure the firewall, you can see the live packet count, whether the syslogs are coming in from the firewalls which you forwarded, to make sure that is properly been configured. And you can also see the syslogs which is coming in using the free live syslog viewer readily available right here. So once the syslogs have been successfully received, it will automatically be available under firewall log analysis, and then you would be able to see those firewalls right here, and then probably it would automatically start collecting the data for all of these firewalls which you forwarded. Let's talk about these firewalls performance metrics and much more in detail in the upcoming sessions. Now let's talk about how do you discover your virtual environment. So we have got a dedicated discovery process for your virtual environment. So you can just get into the virtual discovery, either it's a VMware, Hyper-V or Xen or Nutanix. You can just provide the respective IP address, the respective credentials and discover. We will be able to get the complete information of your virtual environment. So once this has been discovered, you have a dedicated tab to look at the virtual environment and you would be able to see that right here. Let's say we discovered a virtual environment with VMware, you will be able to have them right here. So you can add your Nutanix right here. The wireless LAN controllers, we have got a dedicated ones, the Meraki's, IPMI, UCS, ACI, all of these are readily available right here with the dedicated discovery process. Just select those, provide the IP address and select those credentials, and that should be fine. You will have all of your devices successfully discovered in real quick time. This is how simple the discovery process of Op Manager Plus is. By this, we have come to the end of this session on how to discover your devices in Op Manager Plus. Thank you all for listening. Let us meet in the next video.